Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another edition of the Murphy Street Podcast. I am joined today with CeeLo. CeeLo, tell everybody what's up.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
I think we'd like to start with maybe sending out some thoughts and prayers to Bronson, who ordinarily is doing the show with us. One of his family members passed away, and that's why he's not here with us. So, Bronson, thoughts and prayers out to you, brother, and your family. Hoping everything is okay or gets better from this point forward. So, welcome back to Murphy Street. We have a good amount of things to talk about. I'd like to confidently say that we have some good things to talk about. So, having said that, when you come to Murphy Street, we always invite you to come inside, have a good time with us. But first things first, shoes and slippers at the door. Come inside and let's talk story. All right, now, I guess it's going to be my regular thing until I actually get back to Disneyland or until they actually open. But Disneyland Parks and Resorts, so Anaheim, has released their phase reopening plan. Have you seen it?
I didn't read the plan. I know they're planning on reopening, just what they put out on IG, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, the one that I saw was on the Disney Parks blog, and that was actually forwarded to me from some cast members in Anaheim. So
okay. So
that's one of
thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, the way it goes is like this, and it'll follow pretty much the same format that Disney World did, wherein they will open up downtown Disney on July 9th. Mm-hmm. The main difference between this one and Disney World is the fact that World of Disney will be open in downtown Disney.
Yes.
For this one. So, not just the third-party vendors, the World of Disney will be open. So for those of you who collect things at World of Disney, it'll be open for you. So make sure you check that out. All right. Now, on July 17th, that's when you can expect the parks to open. So Disney's Grand California Adventure Park.
Yes.
So Grand California Adventure Park. Yeah, and also Disneyland, the Disneyland Park itself will be open on the 17th. Now, this is the part that was interesting, okay? So Disney Grand California Hotel and, I don't know if it's a resort yet. No, it's not. So Disney Grand California Hotel, it's definitely a spa, because I know there's a spa there.
Yes. It hasn't opened. They remodeling it and redesigning it.
Gotcha.
So I'm not sure if it'll open with the resort. But I know they were hiring for those positions.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So Disney Grand California Hotel, as well as the Paradise Pier, will be opening on July 23rd. Now, are you noticing anything missing from that?
Disneyland Hotel?
The Disneyland Hotel, yes. And so I had to call, some of my people back in Anaheim to be like, okay, hold on. Is it just like they just miss it? Is it just assumed in the name that Disneyland Parks and Resorts? It is not. They will not be opening on the 23rd. There is no estimated time for that opening that they have released yet. So stay tuned for that for those of you who actually like the Disneyland Parks, the Disneyland Hotel. Have you ever stayed in any of the Disneyland hotels?
By far, I think my best experience has been Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah. Okay.
Grand Cali, it's a nice hotel. There's some issues there. I don't know if I'll go into all of those right now. Yeah. Paradise Pier is nice.
It is.
I didn't have any
hotel.
Problems there. It's just, I don't know, by far and away, Disneyland Hotel has made that impression on me.
So if I were to rate them as well, so you're saying Disneyland Hotel 1, Paradise Pier 2, Grand California 3.
Yes.
Okay, and you know what? That is exactly how mine goes. I will say that Disneyland Hotel, for me, I love the headboard.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that it is the original hotel. I mean, what tower did you stay in? Do you remember?
Oh, gosh, I don't even remember. I had a pool view. That's all I remember. The main building where you check in.
Yes.
And then, we got upgraded to a pool view for that day.
Beautiful. Well, good for you. And that's what you call making magic, right? Hey, Tiff. That's what you call making magic. All right, so I like the Disneyland Hotel, again, because of those little accents and, of course, the fact that is, the nostalgia of it. Like, you walk in, and it is literally that.
It gives you that most Disney feel.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Paradise Pier, I do love because of the fact that, one, it's a value hotel, so it's cheap. And
still close by.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally just across the street. And as a matter of fact, I believe you could actually access at least the California Adventure Park easier than you could from Disneyland Hotel. It's literally across the street. You walk in, and if you go in through the Grand California entrance, then it's just right there. So, and for me, so I stayed at the Grand California twice, and it was for work. So my first time wasn't the greatest experience, only because. And this is actually a good thing for families. So if you have a family, listen to this, because my first experience wasn't the greatest because I had a bunk bed in my room.
That you had to sleep on?
I mean, it was just me.
Oh, dang, okay.
So I got to choose top or bottom bunk, but I'm just saying, like, I was like, because for when I did media events, we got to stay there in the rooms because we needed to be at the park at ridiculously early hours. We finished late, so a lot of times it was just easiest to book us there to make sure that we'd be there. So that wasn't the best experience, but at the same time, it did have a view of downtown Disney, which was fantastic. And my next room, the other room was okay, just a little small. It felt small to me.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think it's a darker hotel to like fit with the theme, that kind of alpine theme. So it does tend to feel smaller, a little bit like Aulani. Too.
Right.
The
No,
rooms
absolutely.
are a little bit darker, and it makes it feel small, even though the rooms aren't actually that small.
And so even when I was a cast member at the Aulani, before I had stayed at the Grand Californian Hotel, I got so many remarks from guests saying that the Grand Californian Hotel is reminds them, or Aulani reminds them of the Grand Californian Hotel. And it's so funny because once I moved from Aulani to the to Disneyland, and I got to see it, I was like, oh, I can see that. I see why. There's a lot of rock and a lot of natural brown color, very earthy tones.
If you get a chance, you got to stay at the Animal Lodge. I forget the exact name in Florida.
Yes, in Florida. Yeah,
oh my gosh,
that's a bucket
those
list.
3 hotels. Aulani, Grand Californian, you can tell it's the same designer. He's got his signature kind of look that you can tell he got.
So we're talking about Joe Rohde.
Yes.
Right? Joe Rohde. Gotcha. Yes. But yeah, so anyway, we're talking about the phased reopening of Disneyland parks. Now, I do want to read some excerpts. A friend of mine, Michael Ramirez, actually wrote the Disney Parks blog, so in the excerpts, it does say that the new theme park reservation system will require guests, including annual pass holders, to obtain a reservation for park entry in advance.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. So UAPs who feel so entitled. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. But even annual pass holders will have to get prior reservation in advance, which kind of sucks, especially for people that buy it for the ability to just kind of walk into the park.
Pick up and go.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, safety first. Yeah, you heard. I know, Margot, I said it. I'm sorry. It's my podcast, so I can. The other thing that I want to say that it is subject to availability. One thing that I'm questioning. Actually, Margot is a cast member as well over there.
Hi, Margot.
Yeah, she actually works out of the Grand California Hotel, so she knows it intimately. But one question that I have is, how will this affect cast members that want to go? You know what I mean?
I would
reservation system.
Yeah, I mean, I have some ideas how it would work, but I would have no idea if that was true or not.
Yeah, well, you know what? So I'm hoping that once it picks up, I'm hoping that there's at least a little slot for cast members, so that
like a few
cast members can enjoy. Because I am waiting for it to. I need to go back to Disneyland. Margot knows how often I go to Disneyland, so I need to go back there. I need to recharge my magic. But another great quote that I wanted to pull out from there says the guest experience team will be available for guests and questions on the new policies. And this is for when you go out for the Disney downtown Disney experience, if you go and you have some questions prior to that. Now, it's funny because for Disney World, they're calling them the social distancing squad. Yeah, subtle, right?
Okay.
But for Disneyland, we're calling them the guest experience team. I got to ask Bronson about this. You weren't here last week. So let me ask you, what do you think about this exactly?
I think, I know in Florida, even in LA, I saw it a little bit. They already had like these little guest service posts that they had set up around the park. So I don't think that'll be a huge change. I think their directive will be different. I think they'll be focusing on, more so like information, probably things like social distancing,
right?
New policies and everything are going to be.
That's their kind of main role, right?
And I think they'll probably divert those teams that they had before that was just for kind of guest information and kind of repurpose those teams.
Reimagine?
Yeah.
Reimagine their roles. Yeah, no, and add to it, as a matter of fact. So another great thing, of course, Disney, they, of course, will address all the main things. So I went through it, and before I continue on with this, I will say that when I read through the blogs, a lot of the guests were asking, or were saying, oh my God, yes, please hurry up and reopen Disneyland. We need you in our lives. And I feel the same way, though. I will not gush about it like that. Wait. I think I just gushed. Yeah, you're right. So I'm lying. I would gush about it like that. But a lot of the guests are saying, oh, please make it so that you don't have to wear masks. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. It's kind of a touchy subject for many reasons, depending where.
I'm not trying to be like Geraldo Rivera penetrating. I'm just asking you, CeeLo, the regular person, not the cast member.
I think if it's something where the rest of the state have to wear masks in public, it's somewhere where you should probably have to wear masks in public.
Agreed.
I don't think it should stray any different than the rest of the land, if you will.
Yeah. So for me, and it's so funny because, you know, like some of the comments pretty much alluded to the fact that they felt like Disneyland should cater to the 98% of people who weren't afraid of it, and I feel like they're being a little generous to their group of people who aren't afraid of the COVID-19 pandemic that we're currently in. But they were saying that Disneyland should focus on catering to the 98% and not to the 2%. You know, and I get it. Like, I would love to go back to life as we knew it previously, but I mean, there is no cure. So as much of a gambler as I am, I don't want to throw
I think it's already a big gamble for them to
reopen
as early as they are. You know, there is resurgence around the U.S. in some areas. I think, you know,
right.
They should take a little precaution.
In the last couple of days, we had like 30-something cases all of a sudden.
Given 10 were in one household, from what I remember reading.
But
still.
We won't talk about the Filipino households here, but
I do think, you know, because they're opening, because they are taking that leap, and to an extent, you know, I don't know if this thing will ever completely go away. You know, they should take precautions, at least at the beginning, to see how everything rolls out before they open it up to how it was before.
Gotcha. Okay, well, you know what? Margot here, and I respect her, and so that's why I want to bring some of her comments onto the show, says that from a guest standpoint, okay, I was just in Vegas, and it was recommended to wear and not required. So, Margot, are you saying that it should be recommended at Disneyland as well? Just letting you know in advance. I'm quoting the Michael Ramirez Disney Parks blog. So I'm just telling you what it said on there. He wasn't actually super specific about it. He did say that it would follow the guidelines that the state of California has set. So it should be one for all. Yeah. No, I completely agree. So I would like to, like I was saying, I would like for it to say, no, everybody, like, do it at your discretion, however you feel. But at the same time, first of all, there's a different demographic of people that are more susceptible to it, or more prone to be affected adversely to it.
But I also think that is kind of more of a personal responsibility,
right? And
at least at the beginning, while people are going into the parks, like, you should know: are you susceptible? Should you be exposing yourself this soon,
right? As
opposed to maybe waiting a little bit longer. So a little give and take from both sides.
Way to be diplomatic. Yes. See, Margot's the same way. She says her personal is different. So, I understand when I ask the questions on here, I'm asking to the person and not the cast member. So, all right. Continuing with what I read from the Disney Parks blog, and something that a lot of people have asked me about. So to address the question about parades and fireworks, and I'm taking these verbatim out of the Disney Parks blog. It says certain experiences that draw large group gatherings, such as parades and nighttime spectaculars, will return at a later date. So it is not completely nixed. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it is not completely gone. It will return at a later date. While character meet and greets, because this is another question that people ask me, because I'm the all-knowing, apparently, Disney guy, right? While character meet and greets will temporarily be unavailable, characters will be in the parks in new ways to entertain and delight guests. Now, I want to ask you, CeeLo, because, well, one, you work for the company, and two, I respect your mind as far as marketing goes. I'll give you an example. So Disney World, they had stormtroopers outside. Yes. I don't know if you saw that. Mm-hmm. So I think that's fantastic because they no longer can walk through the crowds and stuff like that, but they're now up on the balcony walking back and forth, putting out little jibes to the people in the crowd. Mm-hmm. And it's great because it's personable. He's like, hey, you with the Darth Vader shirt, or something like that. So you still have that interaction. You don't lose that part of the magic. But having given you that example, what would you do to, I guess, kind of ensure people's safety and still create that magical experience for them? Where would you put your characters?
I think it's got to be something similar at the beginning. I know I saw online PhotoPass can't take pictures with people's cell phones anymore. I think I think that in itself is a big deal.
Why can't they just wear gloves?
You'd have to change it after every phone, otherwise you're still passing from
you're
one
right.
phone
See?
to another phone.
You see, Mark?
But I think things like that, like you have, mobile characters, you still have ways for them to interact with people. I think, it may be harder for characters that don't vocalize. Stormtroopers, you have the benefit of them vocalizing and kind of talking, but they're continuously on the move, and you can still get some pictures. You may not have those huge lines of people wanting to take pictures, but I think Disney is smart enough to be able to come up with kind of a little bit more mobile.
Right. No, and that's great, because you're right. What they need to do is they need to keep it moving, because like if I was to think of something, I'm thinking, and I don't know what the top of the roofs look like on Main Street. I've seen Disneyland from behind the scenes in many different ways. I've been fortunate enough to be able to have done that in my line of work. I have not been able to get on the roof at Main Street, so I don't know what it looks like. But I mean, to have like characters walk down the roof that way, because like you said, you want it to be mobile. You want people to be able to. Because if you just keep them right here in this little area, people will stop and congregate and gather, and it kind of be antithesis to what you really want.
And the other thing I was thinking you could also do is like with the lightsaber experience, for example, Galaxy's Edge, you have a certain number of people show up, and the cast members at the front are even this is before COVID or anything, very, very well versed in saying, you know what, please come back like 5 minutes before your experience is going to start. Sure. So you could have those things where you can involve a small group of people, but it's more of a registration, like, hey, we're going to have this experience here, please use our app, try to block your spot, and you can kind of cycle and tell people, you know what, please only show up a few minutes before your actual time is going to start.
And that is the one thing that I think I have forgotten to equate into all of this is the app. You're right, because the app is very well. It functions very well, and I think you're right. Well, it definitely should help to, I guess, ease the transition.
Yeah, and a good test run was Rise of the Resistance: The Ride.
Right,
you have your boarding groups,
right,
and you can still have a line, but you just put your dots on the ground. You
can still have the entire park full of people so that you can't move. Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think that was a great thing for Disney. I don't know if they expected it to be that popular for that long, but nonetheless, it was, like you said, it was a great fire drill for Disneyland parks. And
just so happened that was a new technology that is now going to come in handy.
Absolutely. But I do feel like of all the parks that I'm familiar with, I do feel like Disney World is best suited for these types of things. They have all the those like technologies in which
you actually have a lot more meet and greet location
dedicated. I would not know. But okay, well, that's good to know. All right. I also want to update those of you guys. I could not get any information on Tokyo Disneyland or Tokyo Disney Sea.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, as in, I was scouring the internet, did not get any information. They do operate under the Oriental Land Company. So, that's who the majority stake owner is. So they maybe subscribe to different ideologies when it comes to public communication, and so no fault to them as far as getting some times out. We'd love to know when it opens up. I personally would like to, because
There's got to be a blog out there, an English blog out there for them.
Well, I mean, like I said, I was checking Google as much as I could and just trying to find if they had a phase reopening. But in their defense, I did come up with some stuff from Disneyland Paris, which says that they still have no dates, no future dates. But again, considering the state of Europe right now, as far as they're going with the COVID pandemic, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's not going to be a blanket answer for all of Disney.
Right, yeah. Even though, it's funny, again, I guess I'm just spoiled because Disneyland followed the format that Disney World followed from Disney Shanghai. Yeah. So I was just kind of hoping that there was something out there that said, okay, here, to me, the world won't be right until all Disneylands are open. It's basically what I am saying. But okay, so once again, check it out. Disneyland, Downtown Disney will open up July 9th. The Disneyland parks, so both California Adventure Park as well as Disney's California Adventure Park as well as the Disneyland parks will open on the 17th of July, and Disney Grand California Hotel as well as the Paradise Pier will open on July 23rd. No word on Disneyland Hotel yet. All right. So, as you guys know, when you guys watch us here, I'm the resident Star Wars expert, although I share that with Bronson as well sometimes, and CeeLo is actually pretty well versed in Star Wars. Bronson is more like his speciality is anime, I would say, and video games. And CeeLo is our resident Funko Pop guy. So I thought we'd visit. Actually, I can't take any credit for this. Lonnie actually came up with this, and I thought it'd be a great idea because it was just you and I. But I came up with, I take credit all the time. Lonnie sent me an article from dailydot.com, which was 7 fun facts about Funko, and I wanted to run it by you to see what you knew. and see what you thought of it. All right. So first of all, 7 fun facts about Funko. The creator of Funko Pops is Mike Becker. Is his name? Did you know that?
I wouldn't have guessed his last name. I remember the first name only because I went to the Funko
convention or something.
No, their actual main
Arizona?
production place in it's in Washington. They opened up the Funko headquarters.
Right. You know what's weird is and it's not weird. It makes sense now. Is his hometown is Snohomish, if I remember correctly, which is in Washington State. So that is good to know. All right. So number 1, did you know, CeeLo, that Funko Pops were inspired by Bob's? Well, I call it Bob's Big Boy, but it's by Big Boy, and it was initially supposed to be piggy banks and puppets. Did you know that?
I did not. I thought they came from just the original bobblehead company.
Right. Well,
which may have been from that.
Which we're going to progress our way to. So yes. Apparently Funko Pops came from the Big Boy, and I don't know. I know you grew up in China, Taiwan, or whatever, but here in Hawaii we know it as Bob's Big Boy.
Okay.
Did you guys have that out there?
No, definitely.
Do you know what Bob's Big Boy looks like?
I heard of it. I haven't.
Oh, okay. I wish I had a picture of it. But yeah, it's just like this kid standing there in the overalls.
But he's holding the plate of burger.
Yeah, exactly. So that's Bob's Big Boy, and that was the original inspiration behind Funko Pops.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and again, they were supposed to be piggy banks and puppets. To me, I don't know why. You look at it, and it's such a polished product at this point in time, and it's so hard for you to think, backwards to what most things look like when they're initially created, right? And a lot of things come from something that it wasn't supposed to be. And so, yeah, this one blew my mind as well. Although I kind of can see the influence or the inspiration from Bob's in these things. It has a really, really kiddie look, very rounded features. Yeah. So I get it. I get it, Funko. Or I get it, Mike. Good job. All right, so number 2. The first Funkos were actually General Mills characters. So Captain Crunch, Choco, the chocolate vampire guy.
I did not know that, but that's pretty funny because now those are starting to come back.
Right.
I started seeing a lot more of those companies kind of hopping into the Funko game again.
Nice. But yes, and then Frankenberry.
Yeah.
So I swear I saw these Funkos before, and I want to say that they were pretty expensive when I seen them, but nonetheless, that was the original guys, the original cast. And they were actually called Wacky Wobblers. So Becker's initial name for it was Wacky Wobblers line. And then this is when he changed it into bobbleheads. Now, it wasn't a hit until 2010 when they hit the Comic-Con and blew up.
Yeah.
So it was in 2010 that Funko actually first found its success. And as we go through this list, we'll actually go back a little farther than 2010.
Yeah. I can imagine, because honestly, the first one I bought, I didn't even know it was a collector's item. I just saw like a...
What was it? What was your first one?
It was one of my Star Wars characters. I'm not sure which one it was, but I just remember seeing it. I was like, hey,
it doesn't hold a dear place in your heart, CeeLo?
No, I didn't remember. Because the first one, I was just like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's like a little Star Wars character. I love Star Wars, so I was like, you know what, this is going on my desk.
Nice, yeah.
Like a couple years later, I find out it's like such a huge thing, and then it just Funko's out of like everywhere.
Right. Okay. Well, cool. Good to know. All right. So, did you also know that Funkos almost did not happen? Now, this isn't necessarily unique. I feel like most big companies actually have this origin story. Like, this is actually part of their origin story, where at first it just didn't hit for whatever reason. Now, in 2005, CEO Brian Mariotti purchased the company, and then from there they began the salvage operation. But again, like I said earlier, it didn't take off until 2010. Yeah. So you're talking about 5 years of tinkering and just trying to get it right, find the right audience, so on and so forth. And we'll go over some of the other things about it. But yeah, can you imagine that? Like, it almost didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand. I mean, look what happened to Lego. Lego was disappearing for a little while.
Yeah.
Till, I forget his name. I think he's Italian. I think he took over the Lego company, and he started pursuing, like, hey, let's make a deal with Star Wars. Hey, let's make a deal with Marvel. Hey, let's make a deal with all these people.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, I'm sorry. It does make sense, but again, it is a big gamble because you have to pay for these properties, right? So it makes sense.
But all you need is that one good idea, like that direction you're going, you can take off.
You can snowball it, yeah, absolutely. And that the great thing about that is that's how capitalism works. All right. Some of the rarest Funkos, so this will be the fourth point. Some of the rarest Funkos sell for easily over $1,000. Now, I know that you know this because I think you and I had a conversation about this.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, we saw some from the Heart. Yeah. So, again, if you guys like Funko Pops, From the Heart Hawaii is a great source or a great place to go to get your Funko fix on. They are amazing, and, the people on there are super nice. So, Do you know any? I have 3 names here, but do you know any offhand that are $1,000 over $1,000?
I don't remember what I saw. I think the most expensive one that I knew off the top of my head at one point was Pennywise when it was out.
Really?
Yeah, he was going for on eBay. I think it was about $500.
Wow!
But I have a feeling it's kind of like the Star Wars ones. They gain a lot of value while it's hyped up for the moment for whatever reason.
Yeah.
The second one is like Rex. From
Captain Rex?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so his was going for about $360-ish, $350.
That is bananas.
Okay. eBay, but there's also the Clone Wars hype that was just kind of...
I was going to say, you're talking small money right now. Yeah. See, okay, so we're talking $1,000. So one of those figures is Alex from Clockwork Orange, and I know that you would know Clockwork Orange. So I can't imagine which one it is, but I'm sure they probably know. One thing that we have found out is there are variations, and so more than likely there's some kind of variant of Alex from a Clockwork Orange, because I can't see somebody like going ape caca over, Alex with a top hat, some suspenders, and a white. So maybe there's something cool. Headless Ned Stark. Now, I saw a picture of this, and it's actually really cool. So I don't know if anybody doesn't know, because I don't know Game of Thrones like that. Ned Stark is one of the characters in Game of Thrones, and his character, which I guess he was beheaded, goes for easily over $1,000.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I give props to that, because Sean Bean was the character for Ned Stark, and I swear in every movie he's in...
He's beheaded.
He's dead. Like, whether it's in the first 1 or 2 people, like, he never makes it through.
Maybe that's his niche in the casting,
Yeah, maybe. But I give him props that he's made it big on the Funko line.
Right. Okay, and last but not least, a metallic Harley Quinn. Now, I did not get to see this particular figure, and I don't know if it's classic Harley Quinn or new, like, Birds of Prey or the Suicide Squad version of Harley Quinn, which is also a dope look of Harley Quinn. But, so, again... Easily goes for over $1,000. Personally, I do know that the holographic Darth Maul can also go over $1,000.
Yes, especially if it's autographed.
Yeah, you're right. So, all right. So number 5, Funko Pops was not its first name. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
So, and I'm talking about when they actually decided, okay, this is what we're going to go with. It's not going to be banks or puppets. It is going to be. It was called Funko Force 2.0. Funko Force 2.0. So it did not go well, as you can tell, with its original audience. And again, this was during the release at Comic-Con. What they did find, or what CEO Brian Moriarty did find, is that it appealed to a female demographic. So that's where they were like, okay, well, at least we have something.
Yeah.
Great. We got to tinker with the name. And the first 2 characters that I believe that were in that line was Green Lantern and Batman, I think, was the first.
Batman's cool. Green Lantern, kind of a shame, but eh.
But I'm pretty sure that it was the look that appealed to the ladies, right? And so they were like, all right, Funko Force, maybe not it. And so somehow they landed on Funko Pops. I guess, okay, Funko's cool, but I think we want something more pop culture. And when they did that, too, it also opened them up to, like everything. Yeah, exactly right. All right. Now, this one I'm pretty sure that I would stump you on. You would not know. Funko has never released a Super Mario Funko.
Huh.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. I've never seen one.
Exactly. Well, of course it's true, because it was in the article.
Yeah.
But, they've never released a Super Mario.
Which is funny, because they have Capcom, they have,
They have everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
Virtually everybody else, but they have not done a Super Mario Funko. There was no reasoning behind it. There was a guess as to probably more than likely the, I guess, how tight Nintendo is with their licensing and stuff like that. But nonetheless, they haven't done one. And so... now that it's been called out, who knows? Maybe we'll see one soon, because I know I'm a huge Super
Which is
Mario
kind of surprising, because if you ever saw the Super Mario Brothers movie, you feel like they'd be very loose with that.
Right? Yes, exactly. Yeah, good point. Very good point. Touche. I almost forgot about that movie.
It's got a very cult kind of following, which is kind of a very interesting movie.
I totally like that movie.
Like the giant Goombas, like you actually have like a little raptor-ish Yoshi. Like it's kind of funny.
All right, so... last point, there's a petition going around right now, and I want to know what you think about this. Actually, do you YouTube a lot?
Watch YouTube videos?
Yeah, do you watch, okay, so do you know any YouTubers, any famous YouTubers?
Not personally. I watch New Rockstars, kind of the, comicbook.com.
I literally don't watch any, I don't know any YouTubers. So anyway, there's a petition going around for there to be, YouTuber Funkos. So Funkos of YouTubers. So people like Tom Ska. Now, I have heard of Amazing Phil before, but they also have Game Grumps that is on the ballot as well, etc. How do you feel about that?
I'm going to say no because they make so much money already, and I don't want them to make any more because I'm jealous. And they already have a lot going for them. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. If there's a market for it, I wouldn't see why not. I mean, there's a lot of people who've gone from, like, YouTube personalities to, like, being in movies.
Right.
So I wouldn't see why not.
Okay, so let's clear it up for everybody because I kind of at least know relatively what your niche is when you collect your Funkos. For me, I literally only collect Supermans because Maluhia's name, of course, is Kal-El, so Superman is the only one. And I've had to be really disciplined as to what I get as far as Funkos because if not, it's a very slippery slope, deep rabbit hole kind of scenario. So tell everybody what your niche market is. Like when you go out for Funkos, what are the ones that you look for?
It actually started off with Star Wars because I think of all of the things I watched, that's probably one of the things. Like I just collected stuff in general. So Star Wars, I'd probably say the first one. And then it was the horror movie / Marvel that kind of came into it. And it wasn't necessarily from a love of Marvel while I was growing up. It was more so from like the more modern Marvel studios that, you know, kind of got me, that re-sparked the interest.
Gotcha. That reignited the love, huh?
Yes, because I think once I was done reading comic books, you know, I kind of like laid off of Marvel. I mean, I had the occasional shirt because they were cool.
Sure.
But yeah, it really didn't get me back into it until like Iron Man and Captain America started coming out.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But yeah, the horror movies I always like. So as soon as I started seeing like Annabelle, I'll save that one for later. Yeah. Pennywise, Freddy versus Jason, like a bunch of them. Like I really like to collect those because they're fun.
Nice. Well, fantastic. Just so again, if you guys don't know, CeeLo's main shtick: Marvel, Star Wars, horror. Okay, so in case anybody wants to buy CeeLo any free Funkos, we'll gladly accept Funkos. There's no problem. But all right, so I'm going to say that we've actually done a good job of making our way towards the good part of the segment, the good part of the podcast, which is the What's on My Table segment. So what's on my table this evening, and we're going to start with CeeLo because I guess I'm going to have to use yours for what's on my table if you don't mind.
It's good. It's part of our exchange.
Sweet, our exchange program.
So I ordered this.
Do you have a light on your thing? Let's get your light.
I actually ordered this well before the actual 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. And it's actually Han Solo and his carbonite, which I actually thought was really dope. So it's supposed to be here about maybe a couple weeks ago. Late delivery.
Is this Amazon?
No, that actually came from the Funko website.
Funko? Cool.
Random interesting fact, you used to never be able to buy Funko from the Funko website.
What?
I don't know when they started it, but I remember like you'd be able to see what's in their vault. You could see, certain ones that are coming out, but you couldn't buy them from them before. But anyways, so I got 3 of these. I got one for myself, of course, and then Kavika and Bronson. But it's this really dope Han Solo stuck in his...
It is really dope.
His carbonite. And I thought it was kind of special because it was the 40th anniversary
which
of
we
the
made a big deal of.
Yeah,
which we may try and make a big deal for Father's Day next week as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But okay, fantastic. Well, thank you. And luckily for me, I have CeeLo. I have in my exchange program here for CeeLo the Hannibal Lecter Funko. So because today we have CeeLo, we're going to make it a Funko-centric episode, but we have the Hannibal Lecter Funko. Now, I was at GameStop in Wynwood Mall when I found this guy, and I saw it, and I immediately had to show CeeLo because it kind of checked all the boxes on CeeLo. Now, if you guys can see it, especially I'm showing the people on my Instagram Live right now, the cool thing about it is it has Hannibal Lecter, and he has like the blood on his mouth. It's from the scene where he escapes from the madhouse, or from his encagement. What do you call that? His cage.
I mean, it pretty much was a cage,
right? Yeah. So he basically bit somebody's face off, and then put it on his face and pretended to be that person. And so what's great about this one is the packaging. They went so far as to put like blood spatter on the packaging. So for those of you guys, right, Margot, isn't that cool? I mean, it's a little sick, but also it's very cool if you're a fan of the movie. So I'm a huge film as American literature guy, so this was one of the movies obviously that we had to study. So again, this Hannibal Lecter was one that I thought was awesome. I sent it to CeeLo. CeeLo wanted it, and so what's interesting is I pulled this guy out, went to go pay for it, and when I pulled him out, behind him was a completely clean Hannibal Lecter. So I wasn't sure if one was more valuable than the other. That would be CeeLo's field of expertise. But nonetheless, there was the clean version, and then, of course, this way cooler, way more dramatic, blood spatter Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, it's really dope. In terms of value, I'm not sure. Like, the horror ones I kind of collect just because I think they're cool.
Yeah.
Well, the only other one I ever saw, maybe two of them. One was from The Shining. It was Jack Torrance.
I was going to say, was it the twins?
I don't even know if they came out with one with the twins. That would be a good one for them.
I refuse to believe that. They normally have a really good lineup of characters, that's why.
Yeah, but Jack Torrance had a blood spatter, and Pennywise may have, but Jack Torrance I know for sure from The Shining.
So this blood spatter thing, that look isn't very unique. Then they've done it before,
but very rare.
I see. Okay,
very rare because I have Annabelle, I have a bunch of Pennywises, I have Freddy
that have that blood spatter.
I have Jason that do not. So a lot of them come with it.
Is this your first blood spatter box?
It is. Yeah.
Yes.
I regretted not buying the Jack Torrance one.
Well, I'm honored to be able to have found that for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It's my pleasure. All right. So that will do it for this episode of the Higher Estate Podcast. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Garen Chun with Sunwork Photography, for having done our logo. So we have a snazzy new logo now. I know you've seen it. Yes, thank you very much. We actually have a little 11-second runner that we can put up on our story. Just that one that just says shoes and slippers at the door, Murphy Street Podcast by Kavika, CeeLo, and Bronson. So we'll get that up at a certain point. But again, thank you to Garen Chun at Sunwork Photography for that. CeeLo, you want to tell them where they can follow you at?
Yes, on IG it's CT96707.
And you can follow me at Murphy Street 808 MURPHYSTREET 808. And that will wrap us up for another edition of the Murphy Street Podcast. Until then, everybody, make sure that you guys stay healthy. The parks are opening soon, so we will all be able to go there. Be ready to go. Other than that, don't forget your slippers. Aloha.
Aloha.